Hey, everybody, this is James Pelton, and I am back in Lincoln, Nebraska. I have been all over the world here in the last few weeks. It is good to be back in my office with the mic I know, the light I know, the camera I know. So excited to get back. I actually missed these AMAs. I haven't been doing as many recently because I've been out of town so much. So excited to get back into the swing of things. You guys can expect a lot more content from me going forward. I have no trips planned at least for the next few weeks. So we'll try to get back into a good routine here. And forgive my voice. So I just got back from a conference and I spoke a lot and my voice is going out on me, but no pain or anything. So that is good. If you're here, go ahead and just say hi. I just want to see who's here today. Thank you for hopping in. Appreciate you. Richie has become newest member of my community. Met him at the conference. Good to meet you, Richie. And thanks for joining my community. So hope it's beneficial for you. We got Dusty here and RX Rob, people ready to go. If you have questions as we're going about the lodge in particular, feel free to ask. So we kind of have some things we want to talk through, but we want to direct the conversation where you guys as investors and as a community want it to go. So if there's something you want to talk about, feel free to bring it up and we will get to that. So over to you, brother. Thank you for hopping on here today. Can you start us out with a quick introduction of yourself? And then again, assuming I've had you on the channel before, but assuming some people might have no idea, what is the Lodge? What's going on with this? Do you want to just kind of introduce yourself and a little bit about your project?
Yeah, I'm Lodge. You can find all my information in the description. It's interesting because I was on here before, and I encourage people who at the end of this are more interested in the Lodge to go back and watch the first one, because everything I said I was going to do, it's now complete and it's now done. So this is kind of a cool comeback onto the Pelton show here, having the protocol ready. In the first interview, a lot of my answers had to be, I can't answer that. We're too far away from launch for me to answer that. I don't want other people to steal our ideas. All that stuff people don't like to hear. And the beauty of this one is there's none of that. We're too far ahead for anyone else to copy it and launch it before us.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and totally. We're not going to do like a huge deep dive because we did do that in the last video. While we're talking here, I'll grab that link and post it for you guys. If you want to go watch the last day, man, we do a full hour, going through the white paper and figuring out exactly how it works. So maybe just an elevator pitch. So we're not going into quite all the details, but what are you looking to build with the Lodge?
Sure. At least a dozen chains of our special tomb deployment, which each deployment transgresses into the beehive. So providing liquidity for any of the deployments on any of the chains earns you dues, and dues is a token that you stake into the beehive. The beehive, when you stake your dues, there's a 6% sales tax on dues. So when people sell it, that gets converted into Ethereum and it's split with all the stakers. You lock your dues. You don't just stake it. 3 years is the max. It gets you the max APR. If you end your stake early, you lose 50% of your originally staked dues and 100% of your ETH and earned dues get slashed and split with everybody who did not end their stakes. And there's only 3,333 in circulation. This is going to be split among at least a dozen chains. I want to hit a dozen within a year, because, and what's cool about this is that's 12 iterations. That's 12 versions. So we can keep on adding cool things as we go, instead of being stuck with the original deployment. So it's going to be a wild ride. This is a very experimental protocol. And I did the math. If we're on 12 chains, that's 277 dues per chain because they're bridgeable. At the end of, I'd say around month 3 of each tomb deployment, because they go for 6 months emissions, I'd say most users or half the users are going to start utilizing a feature where you can swap your level LP for dues to prepare yourself for the next deployment. And what you want to do is keep your lodge LP, break it in half, keep that ETH for profit, bridge the lodge over to the next deployment on the next chain, and lodge will have a single stake spot in Genesis that earns more than any other single stake. So it's all a system that connects together and earns you basically trickle dues. You're earning trickle dues all the time. It starts after 7 days of farming either farming one of the tokens in the lodge. After, every day your weight gets higher, so you earn more dues. So if you've been LPing for 28 days, you're going to earn a lot more. So the longer you do that, the more dues you earn, and it's all about the dues. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense. And again, if you want a huge deep dive, we spent an hour walking through it and understanding what's going on. Maybe a couple quick questions before, and then we'll get to some updates of how things have been going, things like that. I think my audience is very familiar with Tomb. We went through those senior age protocols. People were in EMP and bomb money, things like that. What would you say are, if you had to highlight the key differences between what you're doing compared to, a lot of those protocols that haven't done so well, they haven't kept peg and things like that. What would you say you're doing most differently? And why do you think that this could be successful when those weren't?
Okay, not a single one of them had an end of emissions plan, which our end of emissions plan is the Beehive. That will exist on Ethereum only. It won't be on a whole bunch of chains. It'll be on Ethereum only. For now, that might change. As for the Tomb part, it has built-in auto buyback that is beyond anything we've ever seen. It has a fire tax. I encourage you to read the documentation. It has a fire tax, so if it goes below peg, it begins to accelerate the buyback. We have all sorts of auto buyback mechanisms. There's a 6% sales tax on lodge. There you go. That goes to auto buyback. Okay, so 3%. And yeah, as you go under peg, it gradually goes up to 15% if you're under 75% TWAP. So that just is a cushion. We do also have bonds. We're not going to do rebates. We're not going to do nodes. We do have auto compounding. You pay a one-time fee of I think $33. And that's for 2 different auto compounders. You can auto compound the masonry and you can auto compound the farm. $33 each, one-time fee. So that's not bad. At least it's not charging you forever and ever a percentage. We have I think our greatest strength is the lodge tax. So what happens with the lodge tax is it's actually swapped into level, the peg token, which adds buy pressure to level. And then it waits until all of our level in the treasury waits until it's at our target price. And then we add a whole bunch of liquidity when it's at target price. So once it hits around 1.5 TWAP, which is our target price, I think another mistake a lot of Tomb forks make is they wait until it depegs. to do anything about it. So 1.5 is our norm, and bigger buybacks will start kicking in if it goes under 1.5 TWAP.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So when I was looking through this, it's kind of a tomb fork, but it's actually so different. There's so many different things that it's almost I wouldn't associate it with tomb. Like you said, it's kind of an experimental.
It's tomb, but it has, unlike any tomb fork, it has an end of emissions plan. It's not just, okay, here's 12 months of emissions, and after that, I hope nobody's holding the hot potato.
Okay, no,
But
gotcha.
at least with this, towards the end of we have 6-month emissions. At least with this, during the middle, towards the end, even in the beginning, we have a little DAP where you deposit your level ETH LP, and it spits out, it gives you dues at a nice premium. And then that LP is burned, but burned LP still works. So it stays as liquidity forever and no one can touch it. So it helps get through the 6 months of each deployment by burning all this liquidity for people that actually want dues.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Let's an audience, if you have questions, there's a couple here in the comments that I'll get to. Let's go ahead and go to updates. So do you want to kind of just talk about, I think our last video was January 14th. So that's when we last talked about this. So a lot has happened, 6 months in crypto, we say that's like 25 years, that's quite a while. Do you want to just kind of talk about the journey and then where are we going after this point?
Updates. Let me pull up. We do have a couple of updates to the documentation, which gotta open the right browser window. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That happens. And so Dustin says I'll have to watch the other video later. I'm slightly confused and new. Thanks for that link to that video. So yeah, if you're watching,
it's confusing. If you, I strongly encourage you go to the documentation. It's long. I'm gonna put it in the comments here, or I'm sure it's here. We go. Yeah, it's like a book. The whole thing is like a book. What's new in here is the whale slide. I don't think you've seen this before. And the whale slide is basically, can I share my screen here quickly?
Yes, you should be able to do that present down below. If Chrome has given you, if you have the right permissions, it should work okay.
I'll just speak it. If you have over $1 million of liquidity staked in the lodge, you can withdraw 20% of that daily until you fall into the bracket of 750,000 to 999,000. There you go. So it's a scale that gradually, and if you look, for most people, no one's going to have the, 1 million. It's a very fair scale. Even for the 1 million plus, that's 20% daily. You'll quickly fall into the 23% daily and exponentially fall into the higher per day withdrawals. And what this does, it doesn't stop the liquidity from leaving, but it gives the team time to counteract it, and it slows down the instead of just seeing that 1 million just dump,
Yeah, nope, absolutely. And what I would say to somebody who's confused is, yeah, you're on the right track. First off, all the docs are here, and there is quite a bit. Watching that last AMA we did, I feel like we walked through it pretty, like I left that feeling like, hey, I understand the vision and what we're trying to do here. So watch that. And then I'll say hop in the Discord because I know
we have the open source GitHub for the lodge contract, for the lodge contracts and the Beehive. So
yeah, if you want to look through the code, that's not for everybody, but yeah, for sure. But I'm sure the community would love to help explain it. So hop in the Discord too if you have more questions and want to go through some of that. So Awesome. So yeah, how would you say things have been going? AJ has a question. Which chain are they launching on first? What are the next steps and milestones to launch? Do you want to talk about, when pre-sale, when launch, and just kind of what the next couple of months look like for the lodge?
Well, there's a special pre-sale going on right now before we launch, just for newcomers, because we've been sold out for a couple of months. So just for newcomers, it's actually 30 cents per level instead of 33 cents per level. Just for a limited time, we'll probably turn it off pretty quickly. Dues will be for sale for quite a while. They're $333 a piece, rightfully so. There's only about 90 left at that price, and then it doubles to $666 for each dues. So there's a lot of dues to sell, and as we show and prove ourselves with our tomb deployments, they're going to sell no problem. And as people realize the power of the Beehive, the power of the Beehive is paper hands. There's so many paper hands in crypto, it pays you. And we're using micro supply tokenomics to achieve this, and a slow drip. And
Okay.
it's going to be pretty cool. But as for roadmap, it's in the docs. The first one is Arbitrum, Phantom. After that, just to pay homage to Tomb, we're going to launch on Phantom. Genesis on Optimism. Evmos. I'm a big fan of IBC, so I like Evmos. Avalanche, Polygon, ZK Sync. Love ZK Sync. Strategic partnerships, with DEXs and things like that. Development grants, they're all over the place when you're looking at smaller chains, especially when you have a good product. Beehive launch on Ethereum. Gaming, play to earn, never pay to win. So all fair, pretty much running numbers games.
What Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there. What are you thinking on? Do you have some like rough dates for some of these things, or is it kind of up in the air? Or what are your thoughts on timeline for these?
It's going to depend on the first launch and how long the team feels it sort of takes to stabilize. We're going to play that by ear. In my mind, I'm thinking like every 28 days launch on the next chain, because we do want to move aggressively. And it is a lot of fun for investors to follow Genesis after Genesis after Genesis to new chains. There's always good yield. But in this, you're actually, following steps to earn the end of emissions token, which if you take advantage of every launch, you'll earn a lot of it. And Lodge is bridgeable. So, you swap in your level ETH LP to help the chain that we're leaving, keep them with liquidity, and earn some dues. Take your ETH as your profit and your Lodge to the next chain to stick into Genesis and earn more. And just keep repeating until we're everywhere. I kind of got some inspiration from Zen in that respect. I want to be everywhere, and bridging is easy these days. Nice messaging systems. It can just quickly say burn here, mint there, cost 2 cents on these beautiful chains that are coming out. I'm fascinated. I'm a testnet junkie. I see all the new chains coming out, and there's some really, really wild stuff coming down the pipeline. And I want to be a first mover on a lot of them.
Okay, very good. And so if people want in, the pre-sale is just this on this website here, right? And the two things you
Yeah.
can do is you can buy dues, which is a little left, and then you can buy wild cards also. Which do you want to just explain these three potential ways to get in there?
Yeah, wild cards are just if you get a wild card, it comes with like attribute that is one-time use, like 10% off this sale. So you say, hey, I want to use my wild card and get 10% off this sale. And then there's mystery boxes, which are more of a own forever NFT, which gives you a benefit like 10% off all sales, as long as you keep that mystery box, which why would you get rid of it? You get 10% off every sale, until as long as you own that box, which never goes away. So there's all sorts of mystery boxes and wild cards that will surprise everybody. Sometimes they won't be great. Sometimes they will be awesome. Like out of 1,000, one of them in there is 100% off buy and sell taxes. There is never any buy taxes on Lodge, Level, or dues or any of these tokens. No buy taxes. Just 6% sales tax on Lodge to swap into Level to help the peg.
Okay. Nope, that makes sense. And then a couple questions from the audience, and we knew you knew this would come up, but AJ says, can they address the confusion they had in Discord a few weeks back? Are you still on track to launch? And can you tell us when you think that will happen?
Yeah, we had a Discord raid a few weeks back. It happens. No big deal. We cleared it up within 15 minutes. Everything's been good since then. And yeah, we're on track to launch.
Okay. And do you know when are you kind of aiming for launch date?
We are pooling some more developers because this is such a big protocol that we want more than just one developer to be able to manage this thing all the time. So it feels irresponsible for us to launch without getting at least two more Solidity developers and one more front-end developer. So that's what I'm focusing my time on right now. And there's great candidates because it's a great gig. Anyone out there, if you're good with Solidity or front-end, hit me up. It's a great gig. The work is all done already. All you need to do is help us maintain it.
Okay, very good. Funny Turo, which got to meet him in person this last week, so good to meet you in person. He says, aren't you spreading yourself too thin if the liquidity is across multiple chains? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's why we have liquidity burn for dues to leave liquidity on the chain. More liquidity will be left on the chain than just that. We won't be taking liquidity with us when we go to a new chain. So whatever liquidity is on that chain will stay on that chain. It will become a democracy. People will move their Lodge to whatever chain is offering the best yield. And often that chain is the chain with the lowest TVL. So with the lowest amount of Lodge. So there's going to be arbitrage back and forth. And that'll be interesting. And it's just another a way for traders to make profit.
Okay, very good. AJ says, in terms of percentage completion, how much percentage do you think is complete for the Beehive and Lodge contracts?
100%, we're done.
Okay, so it's really just the launching and getting it going. Awesome.
It's just finding a competent two more Solidity devs before we launch.
Yeah, dangerous thing to launch without devs around.
Yeah, we're not going to make that mistake.
Awesome. I was going to ask, so if you find a dev, things get launched, Your roadmap starts kind of going according to plan. Where do you see this all going? Well, let's say maybe a year out, 3 years out. Where do you see this going for investors? What would, if it's a little bit more complicated to get in, a little bit more experimental, what would you say to kind of entice investors? Why should somebody get into this?
Well, after the first, second, third deployment, and the Beehive starts producing profit, undeniable profit for those that hold, every single deployment of the Tomb model creates more profit and users for the Beehive. So all of this just makes the Beehive bigger and stronger and better. So every single launch, it says 12 in the title, but I don't plan on stopping at 12. As many chains as possible, and every single one will add value to the Beehive. And that's the end of a missions plan. You're supposed to sacrifice your level LP for dues, and you're supposed to farm for dues. It's all about earning dues during these Tomb deployments. So that's quite different than regular Tomb.
So where do you think? So if somebody buys dues, I know we can't do price prediction or anything like that, but
we can talk about it.
Okay, so where do you think this is going? Like, if people hold on to their dues for the next year, where do you kind of see this going? In an ideal world, I understand things. It's crypto, so we all understand that. But where do you kind of see it going? Where do you want it to go?
I really think like 0.001 dues will be worth a couple $100 one day because of the limited supply, because of all of the Tomb models launching around it, fueling it, and pumping itself into it. It's going to be the center of attention, in my opinion, just by its own merit. And each Tomb iteration is going to open people's eyes to the Beehive, because people come in, think this is Tomb, and they say, "What is this dues? It doesn't even. There's no place to stake it here." You hold on to it. You try to get as much as you can by staking. The longer you stake without withdrawing LP, exponentially more dues get earned in your Lodge wallet. I call it the Lodge wallet. It's a little wallet icon at the top right. You click in it, and it tells you what coins you have. But yeah, it all leads to the Beehive. And each deployment is not only going to ideally make a lot of people a lot of yield in the first months, and then be a vehicle to swap their level LP into more dues, take ETH from the Lodge ETH LP as straight profit, and bridge the Lodge over to the next deployment. And I've seen enough Tomb forks to know that people love chasing Genesis from one chain to another. It's just a good yield opportunity. So we're taking advantage of that. And yeah, it's just different. It leads all into the Beehive, and the Beehive makes you a lot of money if you stick it out, because every time it's sold, you get a little bit of ETH. And every time a paper hand exits early, you get a lot of dues and a lot of ETH. So you got money coming from two directions there, just for sitting there and holding it. And plus the price appreciation on 3,000 dues, because there's going to be 1,000 not even on the market. They're going to be the ones that drip to the 12 to 24 blockchains we launched this on. So it's something I'm really proud of, and I'm glad we're at launch phase.
Okay, very cool. So with something a little bit more, complicated like this, how do you go about marketing something like this? I mean, obviously James Pelton videos, which is great, but
We really don't. We really don't. We kind of got big just by existing, just by just by me talking about it, I guess. Like I really did, we never advertised except for, your show. Uh, I did maybe two others, um, but they weren't as big. And yeah, I never marketed.
okay.
Tomb, What the Fork? What the Fork has kept us up for free for some reason. They just keep us up on the banner, so that's nice of them. And I've done some dev work for Tin.network. So he was nice enough to put a banner up for a little while. But I really don't think marketing like that, like advertisements do anything. I really don't think I don't think if I put a little tracker on there, I don't think we got anybody.
Yeah, nope, that makes sense. So a lot of people are used to, we had so many Ponzi type things going on for so long here in this space, and so how do you feel like your protocol will do if there's not a lot of new people coming in? If the bear market gets more severe, hopefully we're getting close to a bull market. Who knows with all the Coinbase, Binance? We could have a full stream about that. How do you feel like you'll do? If we go deeper into a bear market, not a lot of new capital going in, and then how do you feel we'll do if we do end up with a huge bull market? Back to 4 trillion market cap. How do you feel like we'll do?
Well, that's quite a simple answer. If there's a bear market and we go down, there's no way we're gonna do well. Nothing's gonna do well. But if we have a bull market, this thing is gonna take off. This thing is gonna be a beauty. Just because there's so many audiences we're going to hit with every deployment. Everybody, all the maxis of all the different blockchains, they're all going to get in on it. And no one's seen a Tomb Fork like this with it. I can't believe no Tomb Fork has ever had an end of emissions plan. Do something. So we did it with the Beehive.
Okay. Very good. Well, audience, let me know if you have any other questions. Do you have anything else that you want to talk through before I want to get to? I'm a marketing guy, so I want to get to some really strong call to actions for everyone. But do you have anything else that you want to talk about before we kind of get to that part?
Yeah, here's a cool little. It's called the weekly lottery. 2% of all the level minted by the contract for a whole week that is supposed to go to people who are staked in the masonry. 2% of that gets saved up for a whole week and then given to a random person who's been LPing for at least the week prior. So if you haven't withdrawn any LP for the week prior, you might get this big fat bag of level. I mean, it's a lot. 2% of emissions per a week is a lot. So that's going to be fun. Whoever wins that's definitely going to mention it in the Discord and say, holy crap, this is like, I don't know, 3-4 grand. It's going to be a lot. Yeah, just, burning the LP for the next deployment, whale scale. Oh, wild epics. Every single epic is a different time. So that's different than any other Tomb Fork. And that really, really changes the dynamic of, I couldn't mention this in the first video, but now I can mention this. People don't really understand that if you change an epic time from 12 hours to 6 hours, you're doubling the APR. So our epics go from 3 hours to 9 hours. So when we said wild epics, we meant wild because the APR, if it's a 3-hour epic, that's going to be a wild APR, and there's going to be a big boost in rewards at that moment. So wild epics are pretty cool. It adds a degree of lottery. Like you get like this lottery feeling like you're at the casino every time an epic's coming up. Like, come on, let me get a 3 or 4 hour epic, because you want to get that big APR real quick. But then you could get thrown a 9-hour epic and darn it, that's a low APR. So it's gonna be fun having the wild epics. And then we have the wild curve. Yeah, and the way the wild epics and the wild curve work is they both use Chainlink VFR. So there's no hard code choosing the numbers, so nobody can read the code and game it. It's actually random. And the wild curve is a once daily boost to the APR. And, just like the wild epics, these are 2 reasons to stay in instead of just trying to hop in and out, because you can't. You're going to miss them. So it's just one reason to stay in is because of this lottery effect on the masonry and the lottery effect on the wild curve. So, these are 2 features I'm pretty proud of.
Okay, we had a question from the audience here too. Have you looked into launching on Vulcan blockchain?
No, I have not, but let me write that down right now. I love researching new blockchains. As long as that's EVM, that'll be no problem.
There you go. Look at that innovation happening live right here on the James
Absolutely.
Pelton channel.
If it's EVM, we can launch there.
Okay, very cool. Well, let's go ahead and get to, again, I'm a marketing guy, so I'm obsessed with call to actions. I hate when people just get info, get content, but then they don't do anything with it. So if people are watching, what are the calls to action that you would like? And let's start with like the free ones, probably joining the community, things like that. And then all the way up to, hey, if you want to put money into this, here's what you do. Well,
it's at Lodge Capital. No space, no underscore on Twitter. It's at Lodge Capital on YouTube, where we have some pretty dope animations. We got a pretty good animator on our team. We haven't put him to good use yet. He's pretty upset about that. He wants to get out there and make these animations, but we're still prepping. Join the Discord. The link is in the description. I'm posting them all in the comments right now too. Yeah, follow on Twitter. Hit like on the video. That'll help. Follow on Twitter. Hop into Discord. There's a whole lot that I did not discuss. There's a whole lot I missed. So read the Bible. That's the Lodge docs. That's the Lodge cookbook. That's everything that you need to know is in there. Every little allocation to this or that. For example, 3% of level allocations that normally go to stakers just gets burned. It just burns. So it's just a little bit of deflation. We have little things like that there. There's a lot there. There really is a lot there to read. The fire tax, the auto buyback mechanisms, read the farm page, the masonry page. Genesis details are already ready for Arbitrum, so those will stand. Those will be the hourly breakdown, 6 hour, 6 hour. It's going to be a quick Genesis, 12 hours, and there's not going to be much level handed because we sold so much pre-sale. And ideally, if we added just enough, so if we sell out, we probably won't even need to do a Genesis. Probably wouldn't make sense, but that's the next call to action. Just go to lodge.capital and click on pre-sale, or click on docs to read the docs first. It's lodge.capital, and you can buy dues and you can buy level.
Okay, so yeah, I always like to start with the free ones all the way up to the paid ones. So free ones, hit the like button. That's easy. You're on the page. Might as well hit like. Follow on Twitter. You know, even just having the number of followers go up helps the protocol, and it'll keep you up to date when they have new announcements and things like that. I'm not going to be tweeting every single announcement that Lodge does, and so that's a good way to stay informed. Hop into the Discord, like you said, read the docs. That's even if you're not going to be an investor. I think there's interesting stuff if you enjoy learning about tokenomics and economic theory. Go hop into the docs for sure. And then, yeah, if you want to get involved financially, if you decide, hey, I like this community, I like what they're doing. You've said it's experimental. So experimental means there's,
it all is.
Yeah, potential to go down, but potential to go up too. So it's but you can buy dues, buy wild cards, buy level here on the pre-sale page. And then stay tuned for those launches. I will say Genesis often are a good way. Genesis of Tune Forks are often a very good way to make some money. So just stay tuned and, make sure you kind of understand what's going on before you hop in. But that is what I would say. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
No, that's about it. Thanks for having me, James. And always appreciate it. And I plan to be back on.
Yeah, nope. Thank you so much for hopping on. Always appreciate repeat guests, because a lot of times, I talk with somebody once and then we don't really ever get back to, hey, how did that go? What's going on? How have things changed since then? So good to have you back, and I wish you the best. And yeah, reach out if there's anything that I can do to help you on this journey.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And the audience, you guys are amazing. Good to be back. I'll be getting back into my content release schedule. Actually, video on BioFi is going to be out right when I'm done here. And I'll be getting back to more content, more AMAs. So I'm back home for a while at least. So appreciate you guys watching. Please hit like on the way out. Appreciate all of you guys, and have a great Saturday. Thank you so much, everybody.